Hey there. Welcome to Off Track with Paul Carruthers and Sean Bice. I'm Paul Carruthers, and somewhere out there in Ohio is Sean Bice, my partner in crime. I'm the communications manager for MotoAmerica, which is the home of the AMA Superbike Series, and I'm coming to you from Southern California, and fortunately a part of the state that isn't currently on fire. First, I'd like to say that our thoughts and prayers are with those affected by the fires. As all of you have seen, unless you're living in a hole somewhere, the fires have been devastating, both Southern and Northern California. Fortunately, I'm, an hour and a half south of that. But there's also canyons around here, and we have these Santa Ana winds that blow through. And fires can pretty much start anywhere because it's such a dry summer that there's plenty of things out there to burn. So anyways, our thoughts and prayers are with those people, and hopefully those firefighters continue their hard work and get things under control as soon as possible. With that being said, I'll turn my attention to Sean Bice, who is in Ohio, and I can't imagine there's anything burning there but your fireplace.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I actually just got a delivery of propane today and turned on the heater in my garage so I can spend time in there like I usually do. But yeah, it's toasty, but it's not like the situation out there. And yeah, our thoughts are definitely with that whole situation and the people involved there.
So your the propane you get, it's the same as that little tank I have to fill for my barbecue?
Yeah, yeah, except I get one. It's 175 gallons. It sits out behind my garage, and yeah, it's basically the same thing. Some people have them in the ground, but I just have a tank sitting behind. A few people around here do that. A lot of people have natural gas, but for this garage, it's too far away from the natural gas pipeline, so I just have it brought in once in a while. So,
Man, I could barbecue my brains out with all that stuff.
it keeps it nice and warm in there. I really enjoy it, and it's a nice place for me to go. Go out and sit by my motorcycles and take my laptop out and work on stuff. So it's a pretty good setup. So,
So what else is new in the world of Bice?
well, Paul, I got to tell you a story. So,
Oh God.
without giving it away, I want to mention something about we're going to have a guest on this episode, and all I want to tell you about this guest is he at one point, unbeknownst to me, I was at a race weekend, and I think it was the Friday night after our first day at the track, and I was going to my room, and it was the first time I was going there, and I had my key card, and you know how invariably those key cards, you have to do it a couple of times, it doesn't work, and you feel like an idiot, and you look around wondering if you're actually in the right room. And so I was doing that. I was trying to get in my room, and I couldn't get in, and all of a sudden I heard a knock on the door, and I thought, oh, is somebody telling me that I shouldn't be trying to, this isn't my room? And so I was looking at it. I looked at the number on the folio, the little folder they gave me, and it said that room. So I tried it again, and I still couldn't get it to work. And I heard the knock again. Well,
The knock was coming from the inside?
The knock was coming from the inside of a room, but it wasn't the room. And I didn't know where it was coming from. And I finally realized it was somebody behind the door across the hallway. I don't know how this person knew I was outside. And it was almost like this person was waiting for me to show up. And then when they were knocking on their door, they completely confused me, which isn't very hard to do. But anyway, our guest tonight, and I'm not going to reveal it, I'll let you do it, but our guest tonight is the one who did that. He was across my hall, and he was knocking on the door to basically terrorize me that night. So
I'm trying to think of who it could be. He's kind of a smart ass, I would imagine.
Definitely kind of a practical joker, but he doesn't really practical joke too much with me anymore because he knows everything
It's
he
too
tells
easy.
me. Yeah, and everything he tells me, like anything anybody ever tells me, I believe it and I completely embrace it. And then I find out later that the guy's been pulling my leg the whole time, and I can't detect that in people apparently. So
Yeah, and then when we do tell you stuff, you get all sad.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Like when I told you Josh Hayes had signed with Kawasaki.
boy, that was terrible. I had to go to see an analyst over that. That was rough. And then
I mean, in fairness, you were working at Yamaha at the time as their PR guy, so but I still knew that it would bother you when I told you that was a done deal, and I watched your eyes well up with tears. I thought, oh man, I've gone too far, but then I kept going farther.
You had it so figured out that year, Josh happened to have a little section on the back of his leathers that was green. And it was like, Why is he wearing? And you said, see, he's been hinting it all year. You didn't see that green patch on the back of his leathers. So it was just killing me. And this person we're going to have on, he's done a few things to me over time, but he's kind of eased up on it lately because I think he realizes that I'm so earnest about everything that it's just not right. So
Yeah, he messes with me every once in a while, but
he's good at it.
He knows I get personally injured easily. My feelings get hurt, so he kind of takes advantage of that as well. And you know what? I got to admit, my feelings got a little hurt. Was it yesterday or today? I guess it would have been yesterday when this little shithead came out with his announcement that he was going dirt track racing. And by now you may have figured out that our guest is JD Beach, and we'll bring him in here in a second. But first of all, I want to talk badly about him when he can't respond. But yeah, so I kind of overreacted a little bit because I saw the social media, and I sort of reacted to that before I actually read the press release. Because the press release, some point in there, they were kind enough to, well, they buried it fairly deep, but they were kind enough to at least mention that JD still had plans to race in MotoAmerica in addition to doing the American Flat Track Series. So once I saw that, I felt a little better. But initially, I responded to JD and I told him congratulations, which I kind of only half meant. And then he responded, thank you, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, I'm really going to miss you. And then he says, well, you're still going to have me. And I said, okay, well then I guess I won't miss you. And as it turns out, he has a deal to stay in MotoAmerica. And let's just bring JD in now and let him explain. He's obviously had a pretty hectic couple of weeks, I imagine, trying to get all this stuff put together. So let's welcome JD into the room. He's actually in a room in Kentucky. So anyway, JD, welcome. And how are you this afternoon?
I'm good. What's going on? Before we move too far forward, I got one more story about Sean. And this happened on the same weekend as what he was talking about, and I thought he was going to tell this story.
But there's too many of them.
So we're in our cars driving to the track, and Sean and I look in my mirror and I see it's Sean, and so I scooched down in the seat to make sure that he couldn't see me in the mirror or something. I kept brake checking him and speeding up, slowing down, swerving, and he was getting mad. I've never seen him get this mad, and he was flipping me off and stuff. And it was the funniest thing.
No, he doesn't even have a middle finger.
It was so funny. It was good.
That was the same weekend, JD. You're absolutely right about that. So, hey, one other thing I want to ask you real quick. So, Paul just said he texted you. I did too. How far apart were our two texts? Did we almost text you at the same time saying, oh, we're going to miss you, man?
It was damn near the same time. It was real close. I almost thought you guys might have texted each other first and then me.
No, I went right to you.
So did I. Yep, so did I. Yeah, well,
you did make me feel better.
That proves how upset we were.
It shows our deep love for you, how deep it really goes.
I know.
I mean, yeah, it's got to make you feel good.
It does. It really does.
We'll see if any of those guys over in that other series care this much.
We'll see.
Anyhow, so we can talk about the dirt track thing a little bit. I don't have a problem with that. I like dirt track. I've been a dirt track fan forever. So tell us a little bit about the dirt track program, and then we'll go into the announcement that came later this week, with your road racing stuff.
Yeah. So the whole dirt track thing came about because one, which is going to kind of, I'm not going to be riding for Yosh, which I was hoping I would be on a 1,000 for next year, and so with that being said, I wanted something kind of new, like a challenge, and something that I thought would kind of help me move forward. And so I had talked to Tim Estenson at while we were at Barber, and I asked him if I could ride for his team to do the last 2 rounds of flat track this season. And so I went and did those, and they to him they went really well. For me, I was a little upset with my results, just because, I mean, of course, I was wanting to do better, but I think they were still good results. And so that kind of just got the talk going, and then I was able to sign a deal with him, and it's really cool because it's going to be it's a really strong team, and they got some really good riders, plus really good bikes. And it's cool because Tim owns the team, and it's his team. It's not a factory team, so he has a lot of say of what goes, and he knows I still have a lot of goals in road racing, and he's okay with that, and he's gonna work with me on that, because he knows that when I show up to the dirt track races, that I'll be there and putting 110% in into the racing every time I get on his bikes.
So it just sounds like you're dating another girl until the prom queen comes back.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, that's good. I've heard nothing but positive things about the gentleman. I never met him, and obviously he's enthusiastic, and he's put together a nice little team, and I think that'll be a good home for you. Hopefully it's somewhat temporary, and we can eventually get you on that superbike team that I know you want to be with, and I think everybody in the paddock would like to see that, because we think you've deserved a shot. How difficult was it on you when the realization came that you weren't going to get this Yosh ride?
It was it was really hard, because it was something that I've been working hard to get, and and the way it all came together, and when I found out, it was kind of like the worst time for me, just because the rumors that I had heard about the team that I was on were coming true, so I knew I wasn't going to have a spot there. It was race day at Barber on Sunday, and we all know how that race ended. So that didn't help at all. And so I mean, it was all like, I found out about I had heard about my current team. Then I found out about Yosh, and then Hayden and I had a really good race, but didn't end the way I wanted. And so yeah, I mean, it was really hard to take, and it's just weird because, or not weird, but it's just I mean, I know everybody in the pits. I mean, they all want or whatever they want, they work hard for. And so, I mean, I don't think whoever does get the Yosh ride deserves to get that ride. But I just I thought, with the results that I had, and what I've done the last few years, I thought that kind of would have set me right there. But I mean, I think stuff, it happens for a reason, and I just try to keep telling myself that, so I feel better.
JD, talk about the if you can, a little bit about the Yosh thing, because it's been a process, and I mean, we heard about this thing about names and hats and things like that, but clearly you were a candidate, and there was a process. They contacted you. Tell us what happened there, and what was the finality? Did they actually tell you, well, we're not considering you anymore, or did you get tired of waiting and say, I'm going to put together this other deal? How did that communication go? Just give us some insight into how that was, if you would. Thanks.
Yeah, well, luckily, I work with Jake Zimke, and so he helps with my deals too, which is a big help. So at the races, I can just kind of just worry about the racing, and so Jake had a big part of that too, and yeah, I mean, I had talked to Dawn and Pat, and told them why I wanted the ride, and basically spilled my heart out trying to beg for the ride, and I mean, I really wanted that, and I thought it'd be a good place for me, um, and then it finally just kind of got to the point to where they kept telling Jake that they don't have an answer yet, and they need a week, and came to Barber, and there was all the rumors about two guys getting to test the bike, and I and my name wasn't on the list, and at that point I needed to, or well, after Barber, I mean, I needed to do something, and started moving forward with Tim Estenson, and the deal that I'm about to announce too. So yeah, so I never really got a no, but it got to the point to where I had to make a decision if I wanted to race next year.
Yeah. That makes sense. So, Paul, I'm sorry, I don't mean to dominate this. I just wanted to say one more thing about Estenson Racing. You know, that's like a dream team, JD. I mean, obviously but Jake Johnson's still on that team. Colby's moving up to Twins. You got Ryan Wells on there, and Dallas Daniels, our own Junior Cup guy who won the AMA Horizon Award in both flat track and road racing, is going to do a little bit of the same thing that you are. He's going to road race, and he's going to flat track at the same time. So you've got a partner there as well. But that's, if you're going to be on a team in AFT, that's a great team to be on. There's no doubt. I'm sure you agree with that.
Yes, for sure.
Tim's a former flat tracker at one time too, right? I mean, he used to do it himself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, which I mean I could be wrong because I'm not that smart, but I think his rookie year in dirt track was the same year as Wayne's.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. And he's got Yamaha equipment, and I know he's got an Indian, and they've got I think they have an XR 750 too, right?
I think they have a little bit of everything, but the plan right now is we will just be riding the Yamahas.
Yeah, and hey, Paul. Okay, one more thing. Again, don't want to dominate, but I just got to ask, and then we can switch over to this road racing. But one thing I wanted to ask JD. JD, I think I read that you said they've got a couple different designs of their own bike with that MT-07 motor in it. They've got a cradle frame and then whatever you guys call that other perimeter frame or whatever. But you mentioned about the bike with Keith McCarty, and I assume that's that DT-07 that they've had for a couple of years. Does that mean that bike actually might get some laps around?
Yeah. So that's the plan. Is we're gonna we're getting some bikes from Keith. What bike that actually is, I'm not sure, because I think the bike that Keith had first built and had been at some bike shows, that bike has been rode, but not by me, and they've improved the frame and stuff like that. So we're getting some version of that bike.
Wow, cool. It's great. So
Can I come back yet?
Yes, please.
All right. I'm so tired of being dominated. It's not even funny.
Oh, I'm sure you love to be dominated.
Well, yeah, but that's a different story. Yeah. So, JD, tell us a little bit about the announcement that's coming out today. or that came out today. I don't know. I'm lying about all this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So just tell us about the portion of this announcement that's going to allow us to still embrace JD Beach in the MotoAmerica paddock.
Yeah, so I have come to an agreement or signed a contract or whatever you want to call it with RiCKdiculous Racing, and I'll be racing the Supersport class again on a 600, which I'm excited about. I mean, I'm thankful and grateful that I still get a race, and I think we all know that I wanted to ride a 1000, but I'm really excited, and it's a great team, and I'm gonna have a teammate that again, because I didn't have one this year, and I'm gonna have a teammate who's really fast, who pisses me off quite often. Not even at the racetrack, at home, and but the good thing though is if we needed a fight after a race, I can go to the same truck and fight. So it's good.
Well, that's what I was worried about. I'm like, if you guys fight like you did at Barber, at least there you went somewhere and he went somewhere, and then the next day we played golf, which was scary enough. But now you're actually going to go back to the same truck. How's that going to work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be be okay. It's gonna be different for sure, but it's not like it's the first time I've had a teammate before that's fast. I mean, I used to be teammates with this guy, Garrett Gerloff or something like that. But yeah, so, and I Hayden and I have talked but not talked kind of about next year, and I mean we both know that we both want to win, and if we get second, I mean of course I'm gonna be pissed off, but it doesn't matter if I get second to him or Garrett or the Beast or whoever. I mean, I'm still pissed off. So I think we know we need to leave what happened on the track on on the track, but at the same time too, if one of us needs our space after the race, I mean we're just gonna have to kind of step back a little bit.
And he needs more space than you because he's a bit bigger.
Bigger.
For sure.
Hey, JD, so this past year, because of Hayden being on that team and you guys both being on the same, at least brand, make of motorcycle, did you guys feel at all like you were sort of teammates this past year? Because with the way you were with Garrett, I mean, you were in the same truck and all that, but you spent time down with RiCKdiculous and hung out with them. So were you teammates sort of last year already?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
okay.
I think like with me and Hayden, it was nothing different because like even before when we have raced together or when he was on a 1000, like I would watch him ride, he would watch me ride, like we'd talk about the track and stuff, and even though we were still fighting for race wins this year, I mean we would still ask, hey, what gear are you running in this turn? What gear you running here? Or what line are you doing here? So I mean, it wasn't like we were teammates, but it wasn't anything different than what we've done in the past either.
Right.
I want to ask you something. Do you get tired of him talking about, because I know like when I was a kid and even now, like if I go-karting with people and I kick their ass, they always say, oh, you're lighter and I'm heavy and blah, blah, blah. Do you ever get sick of him telling you how big he is?
You know, it's weird because like that stuff, like we don't, he never says stuff to me and I never say stuff to him about it. I mean, because I think
he just saves it for the press
He
conference.
tells us about how bad the clutch is in his bike all the time because of his weight, but he doesn't mention that to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I know being small helps a lot, but I think his size too. I mean, it helps in some areas, and I think with or at least with me and him, if one of us wants to say something about that, we just kind of blow it off anyways.
Right. Save the good stuff for us.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask you something. This, I was listening to a podcast a month or so ago with Johnny Ray, and he was talking about how many times he urinates before a race, and for some reason it just made me think of you because I always have to do those grid walks, like we do them on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, and so I start at the top of the grid and I go back to the very back guys on the back row, and then I reverse my position and head forward again. And no matter when I do that, you're never there. Like the bike's sitting there and you're gone, and I believe it's because you're urinating.
Yeah. So I kind of have a routine a little bit. When I'm back in my truck before I even start getting dressed, I go to the bathroom. I get dressed. I go to the bathroom again. And then I leave my truck, go to hot pit, and I'm usually there probably about 10 to 15 minutes before the warm up lap or the siding lap or whichever one comes first. And then so before I go out for that, I go to the bathroom. And then I make sure I'm the first one out for that lap. Get to the grid, get off the bike, and go to the bathroom again.
So is that 4 or 5?
That's 4.
Holy crap!
Yeah, he's got, and it's not crap either. It's the other.
Okay, so have you ever gone in your leathers?
When I was a kid, I used to. Yeah.
Like more than once.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Ray actually on that podcast said that there was one time, and I guess he'd come back from the warm-up lap. He didn't have a chance to go, or maybe it's a siding lap, whatever, but he wasn't going to have a chance to go. So he went in his leathers, and he said somehow it came out the bottom of the leathers and it went on the track under the fairing. And his mechanic and crew chief, there was a couple of guys still there, and they both looked down and saw it, and they instantly think that something's leaking out of the bike. So one of the mechanics gets down and does the little taste test. So you don't have any stories like that, I take it?
No, I don't. I wish I did. That'd be pretty fun.
That's a good one. That's probably the best one I've heard. So
yeah, for sure.
You seem like you have a lot of you seem like you have these set routines that start from the time you get to the track on Thursday. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've learned from this guy. He's won a few races, Josh Hayes. Mm-hmm. I might take it a little bit too far, but ever since I met him, I don't know, back in 2008, I think it was. He's always been really nice to me and has always helped and stuff. And when I was racing pro back in about 2012, 13 or so, and then I was on the same team as him from 14 until he was done. And he always, multiple times throughout the weekend, throughout the years, just told me I need to take the emotions out of racing and make it more mechanical and repeat the same stuff every weekend. So whatever is going on in life and stuff like that, I mean, you can go back to the same thing and get and you know what you have to do to get certain results. So So yeah, I mean, I try and have a routine from the day that I get to the track to when the race is done on Sunday.
Hey JD,
Well, it seems
JD,
to work.
speaking of patterns, I think there's one thing you do that I always look for, and just touches my heart every time. And I think a lot of people maybe don't realize what you're doing there, but before you go out on the track from the pit wall and practice, or when you're on the grid, pretty much the last thing you do before you put your hands on the handlebars and pull in the clutch is you do one thing. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so I mean, I actually do it like, I mean, if I'm riding at the house or riding dirt track, I mean, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. But on every helmet I've got a uh Gillum sticker on it, and I mean, of course, that's Hayden and Frankie Lee's little brother, who passed away in 2007. And I mean, I was really good friends with him, and really close with him. And yeah, I mean, it's just something that I started doing, and I don't know, it just it makes me feel good before I go out and ride. And I mean, I know he's riding along with me. And yeah, I mean, it's just something that I've done for years now.
Yeah, it's really cool that you do that. And you always have that crest on the back of your helmets. I mean, I'm sure you always will as long as you race, which is really a terrific thing. Tell us about do you know about who your crew chief's going to be, or your crew at all next year?
Yeah, so it kind of sucks. I mean, I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but I'm getting stuck with John again.
Oh, John! Awesome!
Oh no!
No,
Well, he's got a new hip at least.
Right.
Yeah. Well, his leg is still short though, so
Right.
no, I'm really excited about it, because going into this year, I mean, I was gonna I had a new crew chief and a new crew. And it definitely took a little bit of time to learn each other and stuff. And so I'm glad that now I'm going to a new team, and John is able to go with me. I mean, because he does have 2 kids and a wife at home, and his own job too. So I mean, it's not easy for him, but it's nice that he believes in me and knows how hard I work. And that he still wants to come back and work again next year.
Yeah, he's a slow learner if he wants to come back and work with you.
I know. He can't figure it out, I guess.
I know he's even got that crew chief of the year thing going, and I'm sure he's getting a nice healthy pay raise like you.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed talking to him, JD, and doing that interview with him. And I'm sure you read it, and the fact that he, had been away from the track for a long time, the paddock, but for you, he came back, and boy, to do what you guys did in that first year is, quite a tribute for both you guys. So I'm glad to hear that he's carrying on with you. That's terrific. Paul and I were in a meeting. It was an impromptu meeting with a couple of the privateer teams, the last round. And we heard Kelly Reese was in there, the team manager for RiCKdiculous Racing. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, he told us that he moved to Owensboro, Kentucky. And we were like, wow, that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. And we were thinking only about Hayden at the time. But now that you're on the team, your team manager is right pretty close to where you live. What's that all about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was actually out at his house yesterday, and it's cool because I mean the race truck is there and the bikes are there and stuff, but it was it was something that they were wanting to do. They were looking to move from Utah just because uh, they were tired of getting the snow and stuff, and they want to do some more club racing and stuff like that, and so it's more of a location that they can get to tracks easier and more tracks than in Utah, and it just kind of worked out that me and Hayden live here, plus Jake Lewis and Nick McFadden, and so Gage actually came out and rode at my place after the year was over, and so his plan is to try and ride with us more and stuff next year to see what he can learn and stuff like that. And it's cool to have have a younger kid wanting to work hard.
That's great. So it's you, Hayden, and Gage races back in Junior Cup. Well, I don't know. Is he racing Junior Cup this year, next year? I don't know if that's the case or not. But do you know, JD?
I do know. I mean, I would assume probably by the time this comes out that it'll be announced. But yeah, so he's racing Junior Cup, and then me and Hayden will be on
Right.
a 600.
Does RiCKdiculous, do the Bronfmans, the owners, or Kelly, or does anybody have any aspirations, especially with you two guys on the team, of possibly moving up to Superbike at some point? Do you think that might happen or could?
Yeah, that was actually one of the original plans that we were trying to put together this year was, or well, for next year was for me to be on a big bike, and that's because we knew Cam and Garrett were going to be staying with the factory team, and that and this had and this was before I had won the title, and we knew if I did win the title that there wouldn't be a spot for me on that team. So originally we were trying to put a deal together, but it was going to end up costing a little bit too much for them, and just because they want to do it the smart way, and build the team up year to year, and because they want to be around for a long time, and not just come in the first year or two and throw in all this money and get burned out and not like it. So yeah, I mean that's definitely something that they're wanting to do, and if it happens in 2020, I don't know, and if it will be me, I don't know, but yeah, that's something that they are
That's
working
great
on.
news to hear.
JD, do you, other than the fact that you'd be really old by now, but don't you think it would have been cool for you to be born like 40 years
Grand
earlier?
National Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, you're the one guy that stands out that actually, you know, would be Grand National Champion.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been really cool, but I mean, you never know. Back then, I might not have been as fast. I mean, because it's hard to compare how quick those guys were to what we are now. But yeah, I mean, it would have been cool, or it would be cool that the effort that I'm gonna do next year, which is gonna be a lot of racing for it to mean something together. But yeah, I mean it's still gonna be a lot of fun.
And I don't understand what the thing I'm worried about the most is your golf game. How is that ever going to improve if you're going to have something every weekend? And when are you going to work on that swing of yours?
I know. I'm a little worried about that because actually I played, or when we went and played at Barber, like I played decent for me. I mean, it's still not that good, but I played decent. And then I came back home. I played 2 or 3 times, and I actually got par on one hole, and then the 4 more holes I was 1 over par. So like I was feeling really good. And then the last time I went and played before it got real cold and wet, I played absolutely horrible. I couldn't even hit the ball to save my life. So now I haven't played golf in like 2 weeks. So my career is just going down the hole.
It's going down the hill before it even started.
Well, and
yeah, exactly.
That if you can somehow take some lessons from that Josh kid, you'll be fine. Because we saw him at Top Golf there when we were in Barber, and I mean that kid was hitting the back fence like it was nothing.
I know. I guess I'm gonna have to drive with my clubs, and when I get bored, just stop on the road and try and hit cars or something.
Hey,
well, actually, after playing with you, you really only need your driver and your putter because that's all you seem to use.
Drive for show and putt for dough. That's what he's all about, JD Beach. Hey, JD.
Oh, yeah.
So,
exactly.
You'll know this better than me, but from what I could tell from looking at the schedule, it looks like Utah and Barber are the 2 conflicting weekends where there's an AFT race on the same as a MotoAmerica race. Is that correct? And what's your strategy for that? Will it be based on where you're at in points in each series?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I have talked to Tim about it, and he knows that I want to make road racing my first choice, and so yeah. I mean, I'll be at the road races, and I'm actually I'm flying over to Spain to go to the last GP race to try and talk to some teams to see if I can get something going for 2020. And so yeah, I mean, road racing is still at the top of the list.
So you're going to Spain for this weekend's race, right?
Yes.
Yeah, JD, it's interesting that you are going over to Valencia for that last round of MotoGP because, it seems like there have been some riders in our paddock that have gone over in the past. Garrett Gerloff's been over there, and I know Keaton Hendrickson. He actually got a job with a team from going over there to Aragon last year, I think. So it seems like it's good for you guys to be in that paddock. And your aim is to probably get around and talk to some of the teams. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, or at least my goal and my dreams as a racer was to grow up and make this my job, get paid to race, but also race for a factory team, and I have done that the last 5 years now, and it was something that I didn't want. It was hard to make the choice to leave to leave the U.S., but and to leave factory team, and so in the past it was hard to kind of try and make that move. But now that I'm not in that place. Now it's a little bit easier for me to try and take that jump and take that risk. And I think I'm still young, and I'm still I still feel like I'm getting quicker each time I ride. So I mean, I feel like it's a good time to try and make that step.
Hey Jiggy, I also saw recently that the Super Prestigio that you won last year has been taken off the schedule, at least, hopefully for just this year. I it's funny, I talked to a journalist, a French journalist at COTA this year, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, JD Beach is the best motorcycle racer I've ever seen." So I think winning that race obviously did a lot, and at least when you go to Spain now, people know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to get that chance to go do that race last year, and I think it kind of from when I had raced in Europe in the Rookies Cup, I think it kind of got my name out there again, and I was hoping to go do it again this year, but I'm glad that it got pushed back to next year, because this year's going to be a lot of racing, and we actually I get back from Spain, and I'll be home for a week, and then I'm gone for another 3 weeks going out west to go test both the road race bike and the dirt track bike. So it's going to be busy for sure.
Now, I also saw this past weekend you did. What is that, a cross country? Is it a GNCC? What is that? What is that technically called? That off road riding you do?
I don't really. I guess a woods race. I'm not sure what the exact term of it is.
Is it based on timekeeping, or is it just start and finish?
Yeah, no, it's just start and finish. I think the race, the race itself, it's planned to be 2 hours long. But as guys are coming around at an hour 50, I think is when they start throwing the checkered. So like the pro guys will finish usually at an hour 55 to 2 hours, and I think I finished at 2:25 or so.
Now, didn't this race? I read somewhere, probably on social media, that what did you come around a corner and Jake Lewis was buried in mud, and you actually were nice enough to stop and dig him out?
Yeah, so it was fun because last year me and Jake did these races, and he killed me. He was way quicker. And I've done some wood stuff since then, and my speed was a lot better, and so we had a really good race going the first 2 laps, and then I got stuck on a hill because a guy in front of me stopped, and I was in front of Jake. But the guy that was between me and Jake decided that he was going to launch his bike up the hill to try and get up there, and it launched straight into me. So it landed on me. So I had to pick his bike up, pick my bike up, and Jake got by me. And I smashed my hand and stuff. So once I got up the hill, I checked my hand to make sure it was all there and stuff. And so Jake got a gap on me. And then the last lap, I came around this turn, and there was a huge rut, and I saw a yellow bike sitting right there, and this guy that was about 6'5" standing there and just looking down on his bike. And I was like, oh, well, Jake got stuck. So at that point, I knew I was gonna be able to beat him. So I pulled over and stopped, and I helped him pull his bike out. So I mean, it was buried up to the seat. I mean, so we got the back of the bike out, and we went to pull the front out, and some of the guys that work for the race came to help with the front wheel. So while they were doing that, I got back up on my bike and took off.
Okay, good. So I wanted to make sure you actually beat him. Because when you came around and you see him there, because I know how this is, you see your buddy there and he's stuck, and there's like the angel guy on one shoulder saying, "Pull over and help Jake," and then there's the little devil guy going, "Just keep going and act like you didn't see him."
Yeah, I mean, I think if we would have been like, if this would have been a race for points, like if it was something that wasn't just for fun, then yeah, I mean, he would have been screwed. I would have kept going, but yeah, I mean, the race was just for fun, so I figured I should probably help him out.
Yeah, good boy. Did Nick do it as well?
No, Nick. We haven't rode with Nick all winter. He's been he thinks he likes to hunt or something. A lot.
So, we see him.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, there he's a hunter instead of the huntee.
Yeah.
He and Roger are all in on venison right now. JD, hey, we saw on your social media not too long ago that you did a little bit of car racing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was actually a ton of fun. So every year during Halloween weekend, our local track does this like endurance race, and basically you just take a crap car and you break out all the windows and put a roll cage in it and stuff like that, and there's no rules really, and if you break down, you're stuck on the track. So the only time they'll stop the race is if a car flips. So I mean, it's just all go. You just all go for it, and so I found a friend in town that had bought a car and built it to do the race, but I bought the car from him because he actually races real cars, so like it was just for fun. So he let me buy the car and race it, and it was fun because it was 150 laps, but so you do 75 laps. They stop the race halfway because the car's got to cool down and stuff, and try and do a little bit of work to them, and then you do the second half of the race, and you're allowed to have somebody in the car with you. So the first half of the race, my buddy Davis Fisher rode with me because the race started with 30 cars or something like that, and he's a little bit more calm, so like he kept me calm, and like so we could make it through the first half of the race, and then the second half, Jared Vandecoy,
Ohio boy,
rode with me, and he but he's really excited and like wanted to stuff people and hit people, so like it was the last part of the race, so you had to go for it. So like it kind of kept me. The first half I was calm, and then the second half I was all hyped and going for it.
Is it like a half-mile dirt oval, or what's the course?
It was a 3/8 dirt track, but it's D shaped. So like you have a front straightaway, but then the back straightaway you're always kind of turning a little bit.
Cool. Wow.
And did you finish?
I did finish. I mean, they had 5 people that were there scoring, and so there was 30 cars, and I have no idea what place I finished, because I mean they couldn't keep track of it. But the guy that I had bought the car from, who I mean he travels to Florida out west, like racing cars, so he's really good, and he was surprised at the speed that I had, and so I mean it was fun.
What was the vehicle that you drove?
It was a Crown Vic.
A police car, rear wheel drive. Wow.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Awesome. That's good stuff.
That's really good. So if you got any extra weekends, you can work that in.
Yeah, well, I already told him that to put my name down for a car again next year.
So that car you drove, is it still a car? I mean, does it still work?
Oh yeah. So I actually MotoAmerica fans won't know him, but Paul, you know him. My friend Kyle, who I always send you videos of. He came and helped at the race, and after the race was over, he loaded the car up on his truck, and he took it back home, and he's gonna race it or scrap it out or something.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Demolition Derby would be good for it.
Yeah,
drive backwards all
night.
Man,
that is a big car to drive around a 3/8 mile D-shaped track, though. That's got to be a handful to go back and forth. I assume power steering and everything worked in it, right?
Yeah, no, it was
that's
good.
A monster car.
Yeah, if you didn't have that, you'd be in trouble. Well, look, guys, I think we'll wrap this thing up. I think JD needs to catch some planes or something. Have a good time there. Have a safe trip. Yeah, I wish the best for you. I'm really happy that you've got a good plan in place. I know you'll do well in both series, and I'm glad we're not losing you, as I originally panicked about.
Yeah, thanks for talking us off the ledge, JD. After we heard that, we were like, oh no, we've lost Beach Break and everything, but Beach Break returned.
Yeah, we would have had a double suicide.
Yeah, well, I mean that was the plan. Like when I came up with doing the Beach Break thing, it has my name in it, so it's not like you guys can't get somebody else to do it. So I mean, somehow I have to be at the races.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we could make it bitch break or something, that if you said it real fast, it'd sound the same, and we could just get some other whiny little bitch in the paddock to do it, and we'd be fine.
Some other whiny little bitch.
Is that what I said? I didn't mean it that way. All right, guys. Look, you all have a good rest of your week, and Sean, I'll catch up with you soon, and JD, have a safe trip to Spain. Enjoy every single day over there, and come on back, and we'll catch up with you again.
Yeah. Thanks
awesome.
Thanks for being
much.
on with JD. That's great, and talk to you soon, Paul.
All right, you guys, take care.